And as we speak, missionary Nancy Wrightball, one of the 2 Americans sick with the Ebola virus, is on her way back to the U.S. Wrightball's son, Jeremy, says his mom is now improving, even eating a little bit.
So, we're cautiously optimistic, feel like this is going to be a good thing for her, and we're prayerful that she'll pull through on this.
Also, just yesterday, a man who traveled to a West African nation where Ebola has been reported is now being tested for symptoms of the deadly disease at a New York hospital. Federal agents at U.S. airports are carefully watching travelers from Africa for flu-like symptoms that could be tied to the recent Ebola outbreak. Important to note there in New York City, not believed to be Ebola. Meanwhile, both of those Americans with confirmed Ebola cases, Nancy Wrightball and Dr. Kent Brantley, received some experimental serum that seems to be working. Doctors are now trying to figure out if that drug called ZMapp could help stem the Ebola outbreak in Africa. Also coming up, should the U.S. consider banning flights from West Africa to safeguard Americans from the Ebola virus? Hear what Dinesh D'Souza, a conservative author and award-winning filmmaker, has to say, and what he told Steve Malzberg yesterday here on Newsmax TV.
And Obamacare is now forcing even more doctors to cut back on, and it's all because of reimbursements of the Affordable Care Act plans. A new report by Kaiser Health News and National Public Radio says that Obamacare is actually lowballing private doctors. And those doctors are saying that it's getting tougher balancing their books with more publicity subsidized patients and less coming from private insurers. Another sore spot for doctors, the federal government has even touted those lower reimbursement rates as lowering cost-saving measures.
And something is happening right now that has not happened in about a month. An Egyptian-sponsored ceasefire is holding in the Middle East. This after the State Department and White House criticized an Israeli strike on a UN school, and they called it totally indefensible.
Over the course of time, expressed our concerns about the necessity of the Israeli military to live up to their own standards when it comes to protecting the lives of innocent civilians, even Palestinian civilians who are caught in the middle of this conflict.
Well, the temporary truce agreed to by both sides started this morning, and it's supposed to last for 72 hours, during which Israel and Hamas are to hold indirect talks in the Egyptian capital of Cairo. Meanwhile, Israeli troops were returning home during the break in the fighting in the Gaza Strip. The fighting has claimed nearly 1,900 Palestinian lives, most of them civilian. The war has also left 67 Israelis dead, all of them soldiers.
And in Southern California, after massive mudslides, crews cleared roads where some 2,500 people had been stranded. Authorities estimated that between 6 and 8 homes were badly damaged and likely uninhabitable. A group of about 500 campers who spent the night at a community center headed down from the mountains after the main road reopened. An artery where the 1,500 people were stranded also opened again. Everyone in the 2 towns were accounted for and no injuries were reported.
Well, talk about executive overreach continues to spiral inside the Beltway and outside Washington, D.C. That because Congress is on recess for the next few weeks. Also, pundits, politicians from both parties and their staffers continue to throw around the I word. And now the National Review is reporting that Senator Ron Johnson has filed an appeal to his ongoing lawsuit. That's the one he filed a while back against the president over his application of a certain Obamacare provision. The suit was dismissed by a federal court last month for lack of standing, but of course, there's more to come on that.